If you've been under a rock, you are not aware of what happened yesterday morning. But my guess is you were not under a rock, which is the entire point of the beginning of the show today. Tiger Woods was in a horrific one-car accident yesterday in California, driving to do a photo shoot for some golf tournament in California. He had played golf or had been with Dwayne Wade and David Spade and yada, yada, yada. He had a horrific one-car accident. And how do we know about this? Because all of a sudden, our phones start going off. We opt into these notifications. Allow notifications, don't allow notifications. Breaking news from every source you can think of that Tiger Woods has been involved in a car accident. And everybody's first thought, whether you want to admit it or not, is, what time of day was it? Was he on drugs? Was he drunk? Not, is he okay? The first question that you're asking is, what happened? What was his state of mind? Then all of a sudden word comes out, it could be critical. Jaws of life were used to get him out. That came out pretty fast. Then it turns out it wasn't the jaws of life. More breaking news, live coverage, a picture of a mangled SUV. And then the statements start coming out from his agent. But what I want to talk about is the role that the media plays and the role that we play, we meaning the consumers of the apps, of the stations, the role that you play as a fan of sports and business, and try to understand. And this is what I was thinking about all day. Once I knew that Tiger was going to survive, thank God. Once I knew that his injuries were to his legs and not his brain, and that his legs can hopefully recover. Once I started paying attention to the different channels, I started to think to myself, I got a call from CBS Sports. Need you to talk about Tiger Woods. And I said, well, I don't know Tiger Woods. I've never met Tiger Woods. Went on another channel. It was 7 hours of straight coverage. CNN, MSNBC, every channel you could think of, no matter your political affiliation, was all Tiger all the time live. What happens when there's breaking news is you've got booking producers, bookers that are called. They need to get guests. They need to fill airtime. They've got to go live because when you get an alert on your phone that there's breaking news, here's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to click on that alert and go right to the source. If you get an alert from the New York Post, you click it, you get to an article. You get an alert from CBS Sports, you click it, you get to CBS Sports Network, CBS Sports HQ. You get an alert from ESPN, you click it, you get to Live ESPN. So if you're going to send out a breaking news alert, you've got to follow it up with live coverage. And when people get those alerts, in general, they're going to click over either after their phone call, maybe after their meeting, as soon as they can, sometimes right then and there. So you've got to be live because there's nothing more off-putting than when you get a breaking news alert, you click to go to a live sports channel or business network, and you are hearing about something completely different. Oh, yeah, I missed it. When there's breaking news, you don't want to miss it. So you send out the notification. People tune into your network. Then you've got to get people to talk about the issue. And you've got to make it so people want to continue to be tuned in because you're being measured. Every minute you spend watching live breaking news coverage, you're being measured, you're being monetized. So the coverage comes and they talk about the road. They talk about the speed of the car. No skid marks, no impairment. First word, but it's early. We don't know for sure. Serious, critical, but not life-threatening, we find out. Little nuggets are being released minute after minute. Then you bring on guests. What's your experience with drugs needed post-surgery? People were asked, thinking that maybe because of his 5 back surgeries, he was doing drugs the way he was when he was pulled over for DUI in Florida those years ago. Tell me, what is the impact on the world of golf? Tell me. Do you think that Tiger can be back in time to play the Masters in April? Where was he going? Where had he been? Who was he going to be with? Who was he with? Do his kids know? Let's pray. Everyone has to come out and tweet. Prayers up. Prayers for Tiger. My issue with all of this is not about Tiger Woods, actually. It's not about praying for Tiger Woods. It's a nice thing to pray for. By the way, side note, no seatbelt, death. He was wearing a seatbelt. It likely saved his life. I don't understand who doesn't wear seatbelts anymore. Isn't that the first thing you do when you get in a car? I don't think people should be congratulated for wearing a seatbelt. You wear a seatbelt in a car, period. It's like putting on a glove to take a pot out of the oven. You don't get congratulated when you do that. If you don't do it, you burn your hand, and that may be it for your hand. So you wear a glove. Congratulations, wear a seatbelt. But you got to have breaking news. You got to talk about something. Without a seatbelt, it would have been a fatal crash. Headline, Tiger Woods avoids fatal crash. Headline, Tiger Woods in horrible crash. Then you can add SUV once they find out it's an SUV. Then you can say, no skid marks, great speed. We're the ones responsible for this. Because the way the business model works is that everyone and every network is counting on you tuning in and you not tuning out, no matter what. Live breaking news coverage is the currency today. It's not Bitcoin. It's not GameStop. It's not Top Shot. The currency today is breaking news. It's why everything becomes breaking news. And there's going to become a point where we're inundated with breaking news so much. After the election, CNN went with a breaking news footer, I think, for a week. By definition, that's just news. You're going to get so many breaking news alerts and notifications that at some point you're going to shut them off and you're going to lose your mind, and then we will have gone too far. Every network will have gone too far. We got the sheriff talking live, 7 p.m. You think that's not a made-for-TV event? Of course it was. It was 6 p.m., by the way. You think that's not a made-for-TV event for the news? Of course it is. So the sheriff's department comes up. They do a press conference. They answer a bunch of questions. Worldwide interest. What's our interest, our voyeuristic interest in Tiger Woods? Is it the comeback story? We love that. We love when people are super high, then they're super low, and then they're super high again. Was this another low that we could ride the wave down the low? We don't want him to die, of course. But is he hurt enough? But he'll come back, and then we could have another comeback story to PGA Major, maybe even the Masters. So we're watching the sheriff's department and the LA County Sheriff, people fighting over themselves. Who's going to be the spokesperson? Which department's going to handle it? We had a deputy on the scene. Then we had the fire department come, first responders. We're seeing the car from all angles. We're bringing in people who may have known him. Can you imagine that Rachel Uchitel? I'm sorry. The former love interest of Tiger Woods back in, if you watch the documentary Tiger, which you should watch. I don't know what channel it's on. I think it's on HBO. In any case, they're going to her for a comment, and she says, "This is a really hard time for me." What? Why is it a hard time for you? We need to be thinking about Tiger and his kids and his family. The reason we're hearing from her is we need column inches and we need minutes live on breaking news, because we're going to keep sending out the alerts. Then we're going to double down on the alerts to give you an update on the alerts that we previously sent you. And once you get those alerts, you're going to click again, except we hope you never left the site because you've just kept it on in the background, waiting for the next update. It's like waiting for something bad news. Do we have a report? Anybody have a report on the condition? Let's go with that. Anybody? We're looking for a report. We need someone ready right now. Let's find a surgeon. Okay, we know that there's surgery on the legs. Let's find someone who's done the same surgery and see if we can speculate how long he's going to be out. Every network. This is not CBS. This is not ESPN. Every network. Let's get someone to say they just played golf with Tiger and got a lesson from him 3 days ago. How was he feeling? Wait, let's look at the interview we did. God, was he stoned during that interview? Is it possible he was stoned during the interview the day before and he was still stoned the morning of the crash? Well, as someone who's gotten stoned, I can tell you, nope. unless he just had a bake-a-thon, a Cheech and Chong-a-thon. But let's talk about that, the impact of THC on the possible driving of a car. There was more speculation than people were doing in the stock market a few weeks ago. Anyone remember that story? And now everyone is really focused on this thing I mentioned, Top Shot, to you. Do you know that you can buy a digital highlight? Side note, you can buy shares in a digital highlight. You want to own a LeBron James slam dunk? You can buy like a share of it. You can't look at it in your bedroom. You can't show it to your friends. It's sort of like a share of stock. New way of investing, I guess. It just sort of strikes me as quite interesting. And Coke is pissed right now, and I want to give him credit because he's upset that I just got sidetracked, and I shouldn't have gotten sidetracked because I'm trying to make a serious point about the media and the role the media plays and the fact that we enable the media to do it because of our insatiable need to get information with reckless disregard toward its truth. We just want something, anything that we can then text our friends, anything that we can say, wow, can you believe this is happening and that's happening? And what that's led to is networks and media people and those on Twitter to give you information when they don't know for sure it's true. Tiger Woods was removed by the jaws of life. When you hear jaws of life, you assume that someone could be dead. And then LA County comes out and says it wasn't the jaws of life. They broke the windshield. But it doesn't matter. You can be true later. Just be fast now. And don't think you don't have responsibility, and don't think I don't have responsibility. We do. So what do we do now? How do we handle? Can you imagine? Mark Steinberg, the agent for Tiger Woods, had to do a statement. And he does a statement thanking everyone for their prayers and outreach and well wishes, asking for privacy. While he's in surgery, this is going on, might I add. Talking about the injuries. We then get a statement from Tiger Woods himself at 1:30 in the morning. Written, I assume, not by Tiger Woods himself, talking about the rods and the pins and the compound fractures. What a compound fracture means, that's when the bone goes through the skin. You see it in football, sometimes in basketball. The statement was thanking everyone again. And I kept thinking while reading it, is that I was hugely interested in hearing from him and his camp, because this was the one time where there wasn't going to be spin. This is the one time where a statement from a celebrity or a sports figure or someone in the media, this was not an apology tweet. This was not an apology statement. This was a factual, informational statement that, in my opinion, was done to try to quash the inaccuracies that were flown and flung around all yesterday. Do you think for 1 minute that if Tiger Woods didn't have the past that he had, that it would have gotten this level of attention? What if it had been what's an example, Coke, of something where you can break your leg? It's funny, in baseball, we have injuries where we say it's one injury, but it's really a different injury, where he would have broken his leg falling on the ice, and he's in surgery. Tiger Woods breaks leg by falling on ice. In surgery, we'll have an update later. Are people breaking in for 4 hours on that issue? That's a crawl on the bottom of your screen. Maybe they'll do it at an update, maybe on SportsCenter, maybe at top of the show for all the different networks. The reason why this got this amount of attention yesterday, you know it and I know it, it's because of what happened in his past. Can you live with that? That's how we decide what's newsworthy and what's not today based on what happened yesterday? Does that make sense? Is that giving someone the benefit of any doubt? Does Tiger Woods deserve the benefit of a doubt? Does he deserve? He does. Everybody does. So cut to now what his present is. His present is a long period of rehab. It'll be off the front page. There'll be updates now for sure. When he gets out of the hospital, there'll be cameras and helicopters. They'll try to keep him in the hospital as short as time as possible. They'll set his legs and his ankles, and he will then start doing rehab unless he's in a cast, whatever the speculation is. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. I never put rods, pins, never had rods or pins. But there'll be a lot of interest, and then it'll taper off until the next story, until the next breaking news. until the next reason for you to click onto your channel of choice and watch the news as it unfolds. What's Tiger Woods' future? I think it's pretty clear. He's going to want to play golf again because it will be another great comeback story from a horrific injury that was just plain bad luck.